Hey, and welcome to the Mountain Cat Guitars podcast, where we discuss all things guitar related. My name is Doug Meyer, owner of Mountain Cat Guitars, and I've been buying and selling guitars professionally for over 25 years. From boutique guitar and amp builders, vintage guitar dealers and experts, guitar repairmen and luthiers, retailers, manufacturers, and of course guitar players, we talk to the people who buy, sell, play, and of course obsess over the things we love most, guitars. Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Mountain Cat Guitars podcast. We are here at the fabulous Guitar Shop NYC in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, and we would just like to thank our sponsors, Labella Strings, the finest handmade guitar strings, and Bob's Used Helicopters, the best used helicopters, and Bob is an old friend of ours, and he's been with us since the very beginning of the podcast. Bob is awesome, and we'd also like to thank Andrew Follett, our super #1 best fan ever. Thank you, Andrew, for following the podcast and being such a big supporter. And today's guest is Eric Bradley, who has a very long history in New York City guitar stuff, which we'll get into. He's an amp tech and hi-fi guy and all-around awesome guy. Yeah. And of course, you know James Carbonetti. This is his place from Carbonetti Guitars and the Guitar Shop NYC. This is Josh Grove from Protocaster Guitars.
Get this guy out of here.
And we want to thank Connor McDowell for helping us over there.
Connor.
And of course, Daniel Ferry, who films this and edits it, and
The inimitable Daniel
does basically everything else that we don't have to do. So why don't we start with you, Eric? Nice to see you. I haven't seen you in quite a while.
Hey guys.
So I met you very early on when I was just starting at Chelsea. You were probably pretty much just starting with Harry, no?
Yeah, that was like 1988.
Right, so I started at Chelsea, I think, so you started before I did. I think I started at Chelsea like around 92 or 93.
Wow, that's hard to believe. I started before you.
Yeah, yeah. I know, well you were 19, I wasn't that young.
Wow.
I was like 24, 25 when I started at Chelsea, so you started when you were younger.
Yeah.
You know, so Eric worked for Harry Kolby. So for those of you who don't know, who didn't live in New York City or exist in the 80s, Harry Kolby was the ultimate amp wizard, really. You know, he was doing Eddie Van Halen's amps.
Yeah, he was kind of the preeminent first amp mod guy.
Right.
And all the other guys were on the West Coast, and he was the East Coast.
He was
guy.
the New York guy, right? Because he was guys on the West Coast doing Eddie Van Halen stuff,
Right,
and Steve
right.
Vai's amps and all that. But
Exactly.
Harry was kind of our coast's guy.
Yeah, he was doing all the jazz cats, you know, like Mike Stern, Schofield, and
Right. Because I'd read about him in like those kind of articles with those guys in Guitar Player magazine. They were talking about Kolby amps.
And the unique thing about him was he was originally a hi-fi guy.
Right.
So a lot of guys, they just start with guitar amps. And, you know, when I worked with him, it became very clear that if you have a hi-fi background, that really gives you an advantage. Because if you understand a hi-fi amp, then a guitar amp, it's just a piece of cake.
Yeah, I mean, you have the ears to even
But
care
also it's
about
simple.
the
Yeah.
Right, that's why like I can't see guys who, even you said it to me at the very beginning, like you would never play your guitar through not a tube amp, but you listen to your music through not a tube amp. And I was like, yeah, that's a good point. You know, like, you're like you would never plug your guitar into something that didn't have tubes, but you'll listen to music that way. And I was like, wait, this is all wrong. And then all of a sudden that started. So Eric is like solely responsible for my hi-fi addiction.
My whole life is a lie.
Well, I still have. Like Eric was like, sell a guitar, get a bunch of money, and we'll put together a stereo. And I was like, okay. I did exactly that. I still have that stereo. Listened to it this morning. You know.
Well, the hi-fi
That was good stereo.
It was crazy because, you know, I started listening to jazz when CDs first came out, and I remember listening to Miles Davis with a mute and the trumpet, and I said, God, it sounds harsh. What you're talking about sounds amazing, you know? And then this tube integrated amp came in for repair at Harry's, and we put the Miles on in the trump in the
All of a sudden you're like, whoa.
So what's going on? And that was the end of it.
Yeah, once you hear it, you can never go back. Yeah. That's the thing, until you're hip to it, even like certain things with guitars, like, you know, like as you go along, like, you know, like, because you meet young kids now and they're like, oh, I want this. I'm like, you don't jump to that. Yeah. It's got to be a progression. It's like you don't buy a $500 bottle of wine because you like wine.
Right.
Because you wouldn't understand it. You know, it doesn't make any sense to you. You know, try a $50 bottle of wine is a big deal compared to a $10 bottle of wine.
For sure.
And then live in that world for a minute, and then move on. And then like
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's even like I drink scotch, and like at the beginning it just all tastes like scotch. You know, like.
Right.
But then if you drink, you know, a 12-year for a year or two, and then you try a 15, like, oh wait, I could see that. Okay, cool. And then you try another, and you're like, oh, okay. But if you just bought the Cornjal bottle on the first day, it would just taste like scotch. You know,
Right.
like, you know, so like it's that way with this too. Like, you know, you can get your first guitar and it's good. Yeah, but we're still doing it. Like, you still discover things, even after playing out many years. I've been playing 35, 40 years. But with listening to it's a thing. Like, people will listen to music on a fucking iPod or, you know, it's like, ew. Like, that sounds fucking awful. Like, but, you know, they wouldn't play a guitar that's not from 1950, you know, like, and you listen to music on your computer?
Yeah.
Like, but it's just because they're just haven't been hip to it, really.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, once you hear it, like, I'll listen to music on my computer because it's convenient. I'm in my shop, I just throw it on the computer, but you know it sounds like shit.
Yeah.
You know, there's a turntable right there. You know, it's like, but sometimes, you know, if you're going to get on the phone or do something, you know, you don't want to flip the record every 10 seconds. But when you put on the record and all of a sudden you hear the bass player, and you can hear you could hear how that snare drum is tuned.
Yeah.
You know, on your computer, it's just like, it sounds like someone hitting a cardboard box. You know?
Wait, what was it like? Do it again. Need to just kind of sample that.
This is what your music sounds like. Get your shit together.
Compose a drum track out.
Yeah, when you like hear real hi-fi, it's just like, oh my god, it's so relaxing. Your body actually relaxes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why when I first bought my stereo from America, I was working in the city at a very busy guitar shop, super stressed out, and I would just go home and put on a record and just listen. You can feel your whole body go boom.
It's like the band sitting there.
And it's sound waves. It actually relaxes your body, where that's not the case with digital music.
Yeah.
It actually agitates your body.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, so it's not going to relax you. So you know, you have all these kids listening to shitty music on shitty speakers, and they're all nuts.
Yeah.
Like, it's not their fault. They're not listening to the Beatles on vinyl like we were. You know, they're listening to a bunch of crap in their ears, and they're psychos. You know, like of course they are. I would be too if I had to listen to that garbage. You know? I'm sure some of the music, I'm sure, is fine, but like, it doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
You know, but their ears are tuned that way. You know, when we were kids, it was all about stereos. It was the 70s when I was a kid. You know, you know, there was nothing else but records, but people were into hi-fi. Even as a little kid, like,
now these cassettes were taped.
Right.
So it was still physical to a point.
Right. We were into cassettes. You know, because then we got cars later.
Yeah.
You know, but we had boom boxes because this was the era of the Clash. You know, like. You had to walk around your town with your boombox cranking the Clash, you know. So we had cassette tapes, you know. And then I was a deadhead too, so you always had to, you know, get dead tapes. So it was all. We used to drive to the city from where I lived to buy boxes of Maxell tapes for $20, 10.
You should see how much those tapes cost now.
I know, it's funny.
Yeah, I went on. It's like a TDK.
They make them again, right?
Yeah, what is
$150
for old boxes
for blank cassette?
Wow.
For that's old stock one, but
yeah.
No
we used to drive to the
kidding.
city. They were $2. You can get a box of 10 for $20 somewhere in the city we knew about, and they were like double that up where I lived, and especially because we were deadheads, so you needed lots of them.
Yeah.
You needed hundreds.
There's a tape place right over here.
For one song.
I heard cassettes are back now.
There's a tape place where they do all the reel-to-reels here.
Right.
On 5th Ave and like 20-something. It's like the only tape place in the city.
Wow.
Where all the studios go and stuff.
Well, reel to reels, we did that thing at TJ's house one night. Like, we did a vinyl club, and TJ had every format of that you could listen to music on. So we all brought every format of Almonds at the Fillmore
Yeah.
that we could find. Gold discs.
Was reel-to-reel the best? What
was the best.
It was the best.
Yeah. And, you know, I had your copy of that you gave me for my birthday of a master recording of on vinyl. And, the tape does have a bigger, you could hear the bottom.
It's half-inch,
you could
right?
hear his they were quarter-inch.
Quarter-inch?
Yeah, they weren't fat.
Oh,
you know, the
yeah,
quarter-inch.
that's interesting.
But, you know, people in the 70s had those.
Yeah.
They break a lot. They're hard to deal with.
It's still the best format, but it's
the
just
best
not
sounding.
practical.
It's not practical,
No.
but it sounded. It has the lowest ceiling, so you could hear the guys. You could hear Barry Oakley's cabinets rattling on the floor.
That's cool.
It was incredible what you could hear. You know, so it is the best.
All tested through the same speakers.
Yeah, through the same stereo.
Sample A.
He had we did two different turntables, but we had 3 versions of the vinyl: a new one, a 180-gram one, an original pressing, a master disc, and a gold disc, which, you know, Mobile Fidelity makes. Even TJ was like, I've never heard a CD that sounds like this.
Yeah.
Like, those Mobile Fidelity discs are actually for real.
Huh.
He's like, I've never heard a CD that sounds like this.
I'm never even heard of a gold disc. What is that?
Mobile Fidelity does it. When they do the master vinyl, they make these master discs.
Okay.
They're higher quality. They get the original. They actually rent the original tapes from the band, say. That's why they usually have 5,000 of them. And they run them in vinyl. They run them at half speed.
Yeah.
So you get twice the information on the thing. And it's been going on since the 70s. Like,
Yeah.
Mobile Fidelity still does it.
Yeah, it's a label called Mobile Fidelity, and what they did was they got the rights to the master tapes. from the artist or the label.
Okay.
And they would do pressings based on the master tape.
Better
It's just a
vinyl.
super duper high quality.
They do them at
Right.
half
The
speed.
idea.
Right.
You know, so sometimes a single record's not 2 records.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you run them at 45.
Huh.
Well,
You ever get one of
45
those?
is a big deal now.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, then you run them at a different speed. even.
Yeah, I like bought a couple.
Because they go
of those
slow, or
things.
yeah, I got a few things that were 40. It sucks because on one of my things you have to change the belt on the
Oh,
Yeah.
turntable. I was like, oh, that blows. But you know, like, but it's
You
worth
have to
it.
get another turntable and have
Yeah,
that.
like one record like that, thank God. But I was bought one this morning. I was like, but it said 45 on it. I was like, oh, I really want to deal with that.
Yeah.
But now the turntable I have, you can just hit the button
Yeah,
twice.
Some of those guys, you see some of these turntables that have 2 tone arms on them, and I finally figured out what that's about.
What is it?
It's because some of these people are absolutely insane. You know what that's about? Mono records, right?
Wow.
Some of
Mono.
they're actually phono cartridges that are, you know, they're mono cartridges.
So they're
What?
So
so
what
they
these
get the
nuts
whole.
do is they're just tone.
Oh man.
Wow.
That's really tweaky, right? so
Holy
they play
cow.
one tone arm when they play a mono record. It's got
Wow.
the mono cartridge and the arm with the mono cartridge mounted to it. And then if they play a stereo record, they go to their stereo.
Holy
I
shit.
mean,
Wow.
is the world just immensely dissatisfying to somebody who has that kind of need?
Yeah.
Like,
Look
is
at guitars,
everything
yeah.
awful?
Just such a curmudgeon. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's like the guitar thing.
is
Half the guys
everything
don't
the worst
enjoy it.
thing ever?
They're
for
obsessed
that
with this
person?
knob. Like,
Except when
just
they're
don't
home.
buy
knob.
mono records.
Ugh.
right.
Yeah, fair enough.
But it's the same
Yeah.
with our business. You know, it's like, you know, people get so tweaked out about like, you know, like this weird little, you know, manifestation of like, this knob is not correct. You know,
Yeah.
like, you know, weird little things, and you're like, is that guy really enjoying? Maybe people do, because people enjoy obsessing over a certain thing or getting it right.
It's
You
just
know,
an OCD thing.
you can enjoy it on different levels. Like some guys don't even play the guitars; they just buy them. You know, like
Yeah.
that's why I realized like early on, like like people enjoy this on different levels. Some guys just hang them on the wall.
I mean, sometimes you just can't get out of the saddle of that thing. Like, all you can do is ride that beast.
Right, and you get
can't
customers
dismount.
like that. And
Well,
they could be
I've people
cool.
come in there just
Yeah.
constantly changing pickups and
Right.
constantly changing this.
Right.
And like, is you change
Alnico
the nut
5,
or
Alnico
this?
3, Alnico
It's
4.
I
It's like
promise you,
Alnico what now?
You
Just,
can't hear
just
it.
play.
You
Just
can't
practice.
hear it.
That's all you
But
do.
some
Just
people,
really practice
but
the
some
lessons
people enjoy the
songs.
gear aspect
Yeah.
of something.
Oh, for
like,
sure.
Like if they were going to do like boxing, you know, they would have to go out and
Yeah.
get 10 boxing gloves
Yeah.
and the best boxing
But
gloves.
the best is they
Yeah.
do that, then they plug into a line 6.
Well, there's that too, right? Well, there's that problem also, right? Well, it's again that thing
Wait
of
a
not
minute.
knowing the
Oh, no,
difference, right? Or there's a thing of just not knowing at a certain point, you know,
Yeah.
like because I know young people up where I live, you know, because my friends' sons
If
are all
you don't
playing
know, you're
guitar,
not missing out.
and they don't know, like they're like, should I get a tube amp? And I'm like, yes. Don't play your guitar through anything else because I won't even be able to talk to you.
Yeah.
You know, but they don't know yet, and then but once they hear it, now they're like, oh,
That's
Right,
the
you don't
guitar.
like when I
it's-
bend a
yeah,
note,
yeah.
it sounds really
It's like-
good.
And
you
amps
know,
are such an afterthought to people.
right? Like it's like
It's
you
a-
buy a $20,000 guitar and you have like a hybrid, Fender Blues DeVille.
That was Molly's
It's a-
whole thing, right? She's like, why is
What's wrong with
like,
you? Right?
Why
The
do
amp should be
people
more
just-
important.
Yeah.
You know,
like,
like
that's
Yeah.
the sound.
But when you play through like a Tweed Deluxe or one of those things, like any note you play sounds so good. It's like it knows when to
Yeah.
get distorted and when not to, and it's like magical. And new amps, like they can sound fine. But you can buy like an amp like Adams, like a satellite amp, and that's like an old amp because
Yeah,
he knows how to
it's
make
the
the
right
circuit,
sound.
and it does that same thing. But hybrid things with solid state sections don't do that. Like I bought a hybrid like when we were hanging out, and I brought it to a gig, and I could tell the difference. And
Yeah,
I
it
was
doesn't
like,
have that
it had to.
spongy.
Well,
It was
it
this
feels
weird
different.
thing. It feels
Yeah.
different. It doesn't
Yeah.
decay in a natural way. Like, not that solid state necessarily sounds bad. It could sound good for a stereo, even.
Yeah.
There were Macintosh stereos that
different.
sound good, but for guitar it doesn't work, or it would work, or they were trying in the late '60s. They wanted to use it. It just doesn't work for guitar right.
Yeah.
When you bend a note, it just doesn't do that thing that tubes can
Yeah.
do.
But then
Well-
the messed up thing is, then you see like Pat Martino, and he's playing to his crazy like 500 watt power block solid state.
Right,
You're
but
like,
that's a jazz
whoa.
guitar player. Jazz guitar guys use polytones. They can
Yeah.
get away with it because they're playing on the neck
Exactly.
pickup.
But they don't want
the
the sponginess.
tone
They just
roll
want
up.
each.
Yeah, they have this weird,
Yeah.
odd way of doing it.
Well,
Like,
you know what it is because they're playing clean. You see,
Right.
that's why solid state amps are going to work in hi-fi because you're not overdriving the amp.
right.
And when you take a guitar amp and you overdrive it, the tube amp is going to overdrive it the more you find
Yeah.
the way. Or a solid state amp is very hard,
Right.
That's right, by the way.
and they just don't
Right.
overdrive.
That's a good
it.
word.
Well, that's why I always wanted your
Yeah.
mod.
That's an
because I
SAT
always
word.
put
Yeah,
clean,
nice vocab.
and you
Yeah.
always gave me the clean headroom
Mhm.
with like the power supply
Right,
thing.
right.
Right. Yeah, I
love
played
that.
an amp that you did for me years ago. Like, remember I just had a Black Deluxe non-reverb, and you played around with it at a bigger transformer. I just played it on a gig the other night. I forgot I even had that amp. I found it in a stack of amps. I was like, oh fuck, yeah.
So
I
good.
was like, oh, my friend Eric did this.
Right.
It sounded amazing. Like, but there's those little tweaks you do to amps. Like, that's the thing with amps. Like, amps are subjective because a guitar is a guitar. Like, people seem to basically know the theory behind it, but no one knows the theory behind an amp. Like, I don't know how an amp works. It's magic.
It's too scary.
Magic dust in there. But Eric does,
It'll
obviously.
shock you.
Right, so let's do that. So there are, what I always do with amp builders, I've done it I did it with, not that you're a builder, but you don't know about amps, most people. But, so there's common amp misconceptions.
Right.
Most things that people say are not correct.
Right.
Most things I say are not correct.
Yeah.
And I've been doing this my entire life. And then Adam will go, that's not right.
And
It's not true at all.
my eye.
Really? Someone told me that, like, it's not right.
Yeah.
Like, we used to be crazy. What's your opinion on the standby switch?
The standby switch. All right. It's
This is a big thing. I was always so crazy about the standby. People in Chelsea wouldn't use the standby. Be like,
Well,
dude, what the fuck?
There's
AC30s
there's
don't
how
have
to
standby.
use it. There's how to use it, and if you have one, do you need one? So
Right.
let's talk about whether you need one or
I
not.
flip them
If
on at
it's
the
a
same
higher-
time.
So to Adam.
I'll tell you a story. This guy, he's I won't even say his name, but he's one of these big record producers. He says every time my amp, it just keeps blowing fuses. And I get the amp into my shop and I turn it on,
It's fine.
standby, turn it on. I said it's
Right, it's fine. What's wrong?
What are you doing?
Yeah.
So then I bring the amp back to him and I said, you know what?
Show me what
Show
you
me how you
do.
turn the amp on. And he's throwing the standby switch and the power switch at the same time. I looked down and it went, bam!
Oh!
But then some people think the standby switch doesn't even need to be there.
If it's a lower powered amp, you don't need it. That's why you won't see it on a
Or
Princeton.
Class A.
Right.
You won't see it on.
Right, a Tweed Deluxe doesn't have a standby.
But
Right.
you got something like a 50, 100 watt.
Oh,
amp.
Marshall needs
You-
it, right.
What about
Oh,
AC30?
so that's the difference.
They don't
Well,
have-
AC30.
It's a Class A amp.
It's a lower
Right, it's a Class A
power
amp.
though.
Yeah.
Now
Because-
there's a myth, and people can write
I
me
guess that's why
about.
they
You
blow
can
up.
probably write me about
Yeah,
this one.
comment
but
section is
a
filling up right
Vox
now.
AC30. Here's one of the biggest myths: that a Vox AC30 is a Class A amp. It is not.
Oh, see, I just said it. And I've been in this
Everyone
business
says
for
it,
so long,
because,
you would
because
think
he
I would know
said
what I
it,
was
he
talking
said it,
about.
Everyone says it.
Right, I just said it.
It's basically I'm trying to remember how to explain it in a nutshell. It's just because an amp is cathode biased doesn't mean that it's Class A.
Mhm.
In a nutshell. And this is the sort of thing where I feel like I'm going to write something about it to further explain it. But an AC30 really isn't a Class A amp.
Oh, see, I was
Whoever
called
told
it
me this. Harry said this. Just see, he says the most insane things in passing conversation.
Right.
He's sitting there talking about coffee. He's like, "What do you want in your coffee?" Vox AC30 isn't a Class A. It's like,
That's when you know it's
what?
something.
Right, yeah. No, he was like Gandalf. Like when you would go to his place, you'd be like, holy shit. Like,
Put his finger in the socket. This
Yeah.
isn't the right
yeah. Like, there was just shit everywhere. Like, we once gave him, from Chelsea, we gave him 4 blackface super reverbs.
Right.
They disappeared into the place and they were never found again.
What?
They just were in pieces. I remember finding 2 chassis over there. I found the boxes someplace else. And Danny was like, oh, did you see my amps over there? I was like, no. But I was like, we never got them back. But that was the problem with a guy like Howard had a problem working for a guy like us is they're so brilliant,
Yeah.
but they can't keep that together.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure he knew where
Just
it all
scatter.
was, but we never got those amps
Well,
back.
that side of his brain didn't work.
Right, most of those guys, really brilliant guys at one thing. That's why a lot of guitar builders just can't make a business out of it. They can build the guitar just fine,
Yeah.
but they don't understand, ordering at the right time and not just spending
Right,
deposits.
it's the right
It's
side
a
of
different
the
side.
brain, less
Right,
side
I
of
was
the
like, they're
brain,
artisans. They're not supposed to be
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. That's
right.
why I rep guitar
Right.
builders. Like, I can't build shit, but I can keep track of money.
Yeah.
You
You build rapport, Doug.
right. I build relationships.
Exactly.
And it's true. That's why I was sold the shit. But but they're not good at selling shit either. They're not supposed to be.
Mhm.
They're like a guy who could build cabinets. It's like
Right.
they spend their time building things. Their brains work that way. Very rarely do you get both. I can't build things. But I'm good at keeping track of shit. That's why I was the manager of a guitar store.
Yeah.
So that's why you kind of need both.
Mhm.
That's why I rep I only rep people I like. I know people who I love their stuff, so I don't rep that many guys anymore. But but for those problems, so many great builders get stuck in this thing where they fall behind. And they just don't call the guys back because they don't know that that's really the right moves. They just don't answer the phone. They figure they can finish the guitar.
Right.
And then another order comes in and they start on that, but they don't finish this. And now it's a big disaster.
Oh, boy.
And then someone goes on the gear page and starts complaining about this. And it's a fucking problem. They're out. Because now they can never get back.
Yeah.
For sure. So it's a shame because a lot of the best builders, most builders that will happen to. Because unless they happen to be a business guy, which is very unusual.
Yeah, that's rare.
Because they've probably just built
They
it.
recognize this is an insane business to go into.
Right.
Why would I do that?
It's like starting a band. It's like,
You're
why
right.
did you do that?
Yeah, it's like, right, but it's just what they do. They're very good at doing the thing, but no one taught them business. Someone taught them woodworking skills or whatever.
Well, that's why most of the businesses.
Your brother was in high school.
Well, you had the,
Just about.
you got the administrative guy, and then you got the creative guy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why, me repping a guitar builder, I rep Josh, but not that Josh isn't super smart and couldn't do it himself. He's just too busy.
Yeah.
So if he's on the phone all day with the customers, the guitars aren't getting done.
Right.
And it takes a long time to talk to a guy about a Protocaster or a makeover. It's a long conversation,
Sure.
So, I always tell people, I don't do this because Josh can't talk to you. But he's not finishing the other guy's guitar right now.
Yeah.
Which the guy is waiting.
Yep.
And the same thing will happen when you're a guitar. You don't want him talking to some guy. You want him to finish your fucking guitar.
Yeah.
So it just comes to a point of that. You can't sit on the phone all day. Because I'm on the phone all day with guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a 5-minute conversation.
For sure.
You talk all day. So, and they become your friends.
It's a relationship. It's very familiar.
Almost everyone we've worked with Protocaster, we've worked with more than one time now.
That's how
It's almost all repeat business now, and we get some new guys, but it's always attracted the best guys. Half the guys I'm friends with afterwards.
Yeah,
just because you go through this whole process of either having a guitar built or a guitar refinished and redone, and it's a very personal process. And Josh is going to have to send me pictures every day as he's doing it. So I send guys pictures every day.
And it almost becomes problematic because these people become so close.
We're
It's
friends, How do we charge them money?
Taking money from me.
Charge them
Always
anything.
take
You can't charge my buddy.
No, because
You charge your friends more.
you can't because you're like, this
Like,
guy's
you
so
gotta keep this
awesome.
straight.
Yeah, right.
We should give a shout out to Jimmy too, because we just had the best customer ever. Literally one of the best customers ever. This is a horrible story. I hope he doesn't mind us sharing it, but I'll ask him. So we're building this poor fella a guitar. Well, not a guy a guitar. So it's literally, and he's really looking forward to it. He traded me a nice guitar for it.
Oh, this was so crushing.
It's terrible. It's one of the worst guitar stories I've ever had. I've had a million of them. So his guitar's basically done. Josh has finished it. It was it's a custom-made guitar. I don't want to say who built it. Josh did finish. He assembled it all. This guy's gotten all his pictures. His guitar's literally going out, say, on a Tuesday. So basically, Josh goes to assemble it on the Monday. It's all done. It's not made right.
Oh,
the strings
no.
are this high off the board.
Yeah, the neck angle.
The neck
Oh,
angle's
the neck
wrong.
angle. Oh no, it's wrong.
It's
that neck.
And basically, I'm telling him I'll send you your tracking number in the morning.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh my
It's
God.
And this guitar can't be fixed.
Yeah, it's just made wrong.
It just can't be fixed. So,
I mean,
and
it
this
was a
guy's
combination.
really into this guitar. It wasn't like he was kind of into it. He was really fucking psyched.
Yeah, it was a
Like most
very,
guys.
very custom paint job. On this
Yeah,
thing,
very
too.
cut. But
Like, it wasn't just paint it red.
Right, use some color.
This thing and this thing and this thing.
Yeah,
and this thing.
he was a
and,
friend.
Oh, let's
He
rate,
became
blah,
a
blah,
friend
it's
over
gonna go
the. The guy was awesome. So I got to call this fucking guy and tell him. Not only is he not getting a tracking number, he's not getting a guitar.
Wow.
And he traded me a guitar for which I already sold. So of course I got to give him his money back if he wants it. But so I call him and I'm like, hey man, we got a problem. He's like, oh, is my guitar going out tomorrow? I was like, no.
There is no guitar.
There is no guitar. And he handled it with such grace. And he was so cool about it. And I was like, look, I'll give you money back right now.
Yeah.
Or I'll make you another guitar.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want the guitar.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping you were going to say that.
Yeah.
And he was so amazingly cool about it. So, and Josh was going on vacation the next. Oh, that's the thing. He was going on vacation that day. He was going to basically ship the guitar and jump on a bus.
Yeah.
So he's going away for 10 days or something. So it's not like we could even do anything for 10 days. And the fellow was so cool about it. So, I promised him, I said, the second Josh gets back, he will do nothing but your guitar
Yeah.
and build you another one, which is what happened.
Yeah.
And the guitar shipped yesterday, 2 days ago.
It was early.
So it's on its way to him.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
and the neck angle is right, but he handled it so well.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't have handled it that well.
No.
Yeah.
You dick.
A plum of the year, for sure.
Yeah, he's like the bestest customer ever. So
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to give him a shout out.
So,
And hopefully
yeah.
by the time
Yeah,
this
thank you,
airs, he will
Jimmy.
have gotten his guitar and been super happy. But I saw pictures of it. You saw it. It's everything it should be. But he handled that so well.
Yeah.
And I know he was really into that
See,
guitar.
that's the crazy thing about guitar building too. It's like you're going, and it takes months to get to a certain point where you're doing it from scratch, and then it's
Right.
like, all right, now let's put strings on it, and it should be good.
Good, right.
Yeah.
And nope,
And then it's
it won't
like,
intonate.
oh, the truss rod's not working. 'Cause you
Yeah.
can't
That
really
just happened to us,
guess.
right?
No.
That just happened to us.
Until it's
That's why,
done.
right? So that's why I don't get involved in custom builds anymore until I
Yeah.
tell people that, like, look, this is a very inexact
And you have to let it
science.
settle too.
Right, and it
because
doesn't
guitars
always work as a
move.
guitar. So I have a 100% money back guarantee anyway.
Yeah.
But say you're building a guitar for some guy, it takes you like a year or two to build this guitar.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always, like, it just happened with another guitar where the truss rod just wasn't moving the neck.
It's like
That piece of wood's stubborn and it won't move.
because it's wood. It's
Yeah,
a
so
lot-
that-
it's a
you could buy a
moving
store-bought
thing.
guitars. This won't happen because they use different processes
Well,
to
they
make
do
it.
have
It- it
does.
happens.
And it does still happen.
And they just
Right.
are
They-
a bigger company. They're like,
They'll just give you another
yeah,
one.
just
throw that
Right.
one in the
There's
dumpster.
10,000 of them on the
or
rack
they
right
just
there.
don't care.
But they do things to avoid certain things because, like, they use different lacquers because it's
But
not
it's
hard
like
to
you
work
see
with.
those pictures of Gibson destroying all those guitars,
Right.
and it's like,
Yeah, bad batch,
They're
whatever. But
bad.
if you have a bad batch, that's like you basically were going to live off that money for a year.
yeah, that's
You know,
the
like,
difference.
that's the
Yeah.
problem. Some people want to order a custom guitar, but they don't want to wait. And a lot of times there were problems with the neck. We just had to happen.
yeah.
And it was my guitar, so it wasn't the end of the world. And the builder was super cool. He told Josh how to take care of it, and it worked.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work. And he was cool. He's like, I'll make another one.
Yeah.
But it'll take him 6 months to make another one. So if that was a customer's guitar, that's why generally I don't like to do custom orders for people.
Yeah.
But I always tell them, like, look, as long as you order something that I would buy anyway, even if it's a day late, I'll give you your money back.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, I'll give you money back now.
Totally.
Just as long as there's that,
Yeah.
because everyone wants that guitar.
Yeah.
But the guy has to build it from
Yeah.
a piece of wood.
Sometimes it's just not right.
Sometimes it's just, or the piece of wood's unpredictable.
Yep.
Who knows? The
Yep.
truss rod doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Just wants to twist a particular
It's
way.
like with the
Right.
red violin. The guy looks at
Right.
the violin. It's like wrong.
Boom. Right.
Put your anger into the next one.
Right. I
Yeah.
was with Brian Monty once. His thing was to jump up and down on a neck, and to make sure it's really stable. And it was my guitar. He jumped on the neck and it cracked.
Oh no!
I was gonna say when it goes
I'm
wrong.
like, no, is that mine? He's like, yeah. He's like, but you don't want that neck. And I've dropped Monty guitars; they don't break.
Yeah.
He's like, I've dropped his guitars at gigs.
Yeah.
They don't break. Les Paul.
And then someone you drop in the finger.
Yeah, the thing explodes. A piece of it's over there. You're like, what the fuck? But Brian jumps up and down on a neck after he builds it. That neck's not gonna break.
Yeah.
I've dropped his guitars all over the place. They don't break.
For sure.
I've dropped other guitars and they exploded. So it's not the same thing. I'm sure the Gibson guys in the 50s were hand making stuff. They
Yeah.
were like, yeah, it's a good neck.
Yeah.
Awesome. And that's why his
Right.
guitars sound good.
Yeah.
So
And
but anyway,
lasts this long.
let's get back on amps because that's why Eric's here.
Oh, I love listening to the guitar.
It always turns out that way. But we do have amp questions.
Okay.
So let's talk about the one thing I just can't understand. I've had it explained to me at least 50 times now. You know what I'm going to say, right?
Impedance.
Ohms.
Ohms. Oh.
Yeah.
Ohms.
Yeah.
I like ohm. I don't get it.
Don't have to care.
I don't understand it.
It's
I'm
plug it into whatever.
stupid. No, but even there's acceptable.
Just get combo amps. You don't have to think about it.
Well, when we were young, like I had a basement head, and we would go to gigs and they supplied cabinets.
Just plug it right
I just
in.
plug it in, and a Fender amp never seemed to care. But when I got a Marshall amp,
They care.
holy shit,
Yeah.
they cared.
Really?
Anything else but a
It
Fender?
blew up the first time.
Yeah.
Oh really?
That's wrong. Oh, the fuses blew.
Just the ohm load was different and
I don't even think I'd plugged it into the cabinet yet. Because with Fender amp it didn't matter. I just plugged it in and was going to plug it into the cabinet, but it was on. It just blew up. I was like, this amp sucks. I went to take it back.
Yeah, that amp sucked.
Did it?
Exactly.
That was the right move, huh?
But it's the same thing with the setup. It's like, this guitar is broken. I don't want it anymore.
Right?
Yeah.
I was Didi Ramon, and then we go out tune, and he would bring it back. I don't want this guitar. Like, it's just out of tune. I don't want this guitar.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I first went to Chelsea, every single guitar was owned by Didi Ramon. And I was like, this is some kind of scam, isn't it? And then once I got to know him, I was like, no, they were all owned by him. They went out of tune, and he returned them. I don't want this anymore. I'm like, it's a good guitar though. It's just that I don't want this anymore. We're gonna argue with him. This is fucking nuts. Okay, which one do you want? That one. It's yours.
Yeah.
So like, I had so many guitars that were owned by D. Ramone and Les worked there. I thought, I was like, this guy is a scam.
Yeah.
Every guitar is owned by D. Ramone. But
did you ever hand him back a guitar that was his, but it was just retail?
no, he knew.
Okay,
I don't want that guitar.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
He was like, but it's just. But he would
So
have
he'd
you
remember.
put. He would have you put acoustic guitar strings on a Les Paul Jr. like,
Okay.
and that's what he wanted. He couldn't play guitar at all. He was a bass player.
Yeah.
He was like, he'd play guitar like. So like, but he could write, I want to be sedated.
Yeah, wow.
It was really
Okay.
odd. His whole thing was odd. But I never sold him a bass ever. He was into playing guitar at that point. But he wasn't a guitar player. He didn't really make chords. But acoustic guitar strings on an electric guitar.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I mean,
It's never going to be a
Probably
bass
sounded
ever.
awesome on a junior.
I mean, that's a guitar that could take it.
You want
That's
the
a big
YG.
neck. Yeah.
It was just bizarre,
Yeah,
and
that's
they would
funny.
go out of tune ultimately,
That's funny.
And it was like, I don't want this anymore.
Yeah.
After a while, you're just like, all right, take one of those. Cool. You just.
That sounds like him, though.
Yeah, it's
That sounds.
yeah, I loved it. He was such a great guy, but
I bet he
definitely-
didn't know about ohms.
Yeah, he was not caring about ohms. He's probably like, what's now? I don't think those.
Shut up.
Yeah, like I have an amp that's back there.
Yeah.
That was the thing when we were young. I didn't know any of that. We didn't know anything about anything because no one told you. Like 2 books you could have read.
I remember our friend, we were practicing in the Red Door, Georgia's bass, and they had a band, The Rapture, there. And I remember getting really obsessed with the silver-faced bassman that I saw. I was like, that looks awesome. And then couldn't get it, blah, blah, blah. He's like, hey, I have this amp, you can have it. It's black-faced bassman. It's like, I want the silver one. It looks cool. And then you realize, like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
what am
that's
I doing?
all wrong.
Backwards.
But when you're young, you don't know any of that.
No, I don't want the black one.
Yeah, black. Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah, you just
I want the little silver pipe.
Well, the problem is there was no
Yeah.
information back then, and now there's too much
68.
information. So
Yeah.
everyone thinks they know everything.
Yeah.
And a lot of the information is
They know less.
Yeah, right, because a lot of information is bullshit.
Read the first sentence,
You know,
like I
yeah,
know.
that's a lot.
Or a lot of it's not even accurate. So like,
a lot of it's so wrong.
and a lot of this is very subjective.
Because then
Like,
they write their opinion. So it's
right.
like
But what I
like a
think is
telephone.
right could be wrong. But like back in the day, you would get handed. Well, we got to hang out with G. Smith all day every
That
day.
he taught me
So
all
you-
that stuff.
Yeah, well, half the shit I know just came directly out of G's mouth.
Yeah, same.
Because we were lucky enough, we worked at Chelsea Guitars. We hung out with G all day because he
Yep.
lived around the corner, and he would be in there all day. So you got to get real knowledge.
Yeah.
And then all the other cats who came in, but mostly G was there all the time. So you got to get real answers. So most of the things I say on a daily basis came from G.
That was the coolest, it was like college for me.
Yeah, or any song you
like-
couldn't figure out how to play, G knew how to play because he played it with the guy who wrote it. I was like, oh, how do you play this? He's like, oh yeah, George Harrison actually showed me how to play
Yeah,
that.
right.
You're like, oh right, that
Yeah.
would make sense.
Turn this string
Right.
to this.
Yeah, or he was just like, oh yeah, I played this with George Harrison. He showed
Yeah.
me how to play it properly. I'm like, well, yeah, he played with fucking everybody.
Yeah.
But half the thing, and he knew stuff,
Yeah.
for real. But even still, his stuff was just learned on the fly. Like there weren't books that knew what he knew. Like even like Mojo, like those guys were in so many guitars back then.
Yeah, you open it up, you look.
Mojo knows everything. Like Peter Stewart.
Yeah.
Like ridiculous.
Yeah.
What these guys know. But Mojo said when a guitar came into their shop, they first thing they did was rip it apart.
Mhm.
Look at every fucking thing.
Yeah.
And they say Peter could smell if the parts are right.
Oh, for sure.
Because they have a smell.
Yeah.
And they say that's the one thing you cannot
You
duplicate.
can't fake it.
Yeah.
That'll be next, little perfume.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
It'll sound like
It's like
smell like old
farts.
wiring. Yeah. Whatever. But they say if you
Farts
scratch
and
certain
multi-wood.
things like
Yeah.
Bakelite, where you scratch certain
Yeah.
things, they give off a smell, and that
Yeah.
you could
Well,
now
it's
everyone
so
can
true.
fake
Like,
everything.
Old guitars have a certain smell.
Yeah, people would walk into
Old
Chelsea and go,
local
oh, I
guitars.
love the
Whoever
smell of
owned it.
old guitars.
Like
Yeah.
the guys.
Right, and whatever
old-
these cases, the cases smell that way.
Yeah.
Like they smell like old rotting cases.
Or
They are in
cigarettes
fact
or
old
whatever.
rotting cases.
Yeah.
Eventually they go moldy in your house. You ever go look at a case and all of a sudden it's white?
Yeah, you're like,
You're like, that's gross. But it happens, they go moldy.
Yeah.
It happens all
because
the
you're
time.
sweat, and then you put it
Or
in.
if they get even a tiny bit wet, but they
Then
turn
it's
mold,
like-
they get that
yeah.
white stuff. I know how to fix it now. You can
Throw it in the
demold it.
garbage.
No, you can fix it because after I had my flood,
Powder.
everything was gone.
Yeah.
No.
What do you
Should
do?
I tell the secret? There's stuff called Simple Green.
Oh,
It's
I
like a
remember
cleaning
Simple.
product. It will kill the mold and get rid of it forever.
Huh.
Because bleach is how you get rid of mold, but it'll ruin the
Ruin
case.
the case.
So if you because I had moldy guitars in
Huh.
that flood. Like it was in the
Yeah.
paint.
Jeez.
days. I would fix it and it would come back. But Simple Green kills it for some reason.
Huh.
So like I once I had a friend's guitar consignment at my house.
Fungicide?
I don't know why. It's a chemicals in it, but I think Simple Green is so like natural you can drink it.
Is that why you are the
Bring
way
some
you
and
are
try
now?
it.
Yeah, that's why you stop
Because
drinking.
in fact,
See, a lot
drink it every
of
day,
things
right?
are coming together here in this conversation.
It's cheaper than
This
alcohol,
makes-
and I like the taste.
Minty fresh.
Yeah.
My insides are as clean as my guitar case,
See, amps don't smell like anything unless they blow up.
unless they blow up, right?
Yeah.
Then they definitely smell.
That's not
Smell.
true though. When you turn on a Vintage Jam,
Oh yeah,
it's
that
the best
that old
smell.
dust.
In the practice
True.
space,
Hot
you're
old
like,
dust.
Yeah.
It's
the
true.
twin is on.
Yeah. No, that's
like
these
the
things
first hour
these
of
things are mostly
practice, you're like,
senses because it's your
yeah.
hearing, your smell. Like I don't know how much of a sense of smells I can relate, but but everything. People would walk into Chelsea and go, "Oh, I love the smell of old guitars." Like it's mostly Peter can smell whether parts are right or
Yeah.
not. Because you can't make a new thing smell.
Yeah.
It's by the
Or
materials
that
we
big
used back
dust
then.
ball on an acoustic.
Well, yeah.
Mine is still the tone ball. Mine's still in the
Tone
D'Angelico.
ball. It's got a
Tone
name
ball.
now. Yeah, you'd be like, it's like tumbleweeds inside.
Yeah.
You're like,
So
you blow on it
my
and move around.
D'Angelico, it's a little blue tone ball.
Yeah.
Because my case is blue velvet.
Oh, is that where it comes from?
The case just crap. There's even like a little bug in there.
Yeah,
There's
there's
like a bug-
fuzz in there.
Please,
Sometimes
let me
there's
out,
like old
kid.
pot in there. Like,
Yeah.
remember we used to always open the cases at Chelsea back then. Like, you'd usually find drugs.
Yeah.
And some other cool shit. Some girl's phone number from
Yeah, yeah.
'74.
Exactly.
Well, I'll tell you the
some
best thing.
very
I
old
found-
cocaine.
The best thing I ever found
I
in
had
a
something
band.
to offer when you called her.
Yeah.
Hello, baby.
I got this blackface finish super, and I go into the back after I'm done with it, and there's a clip from a gun.
What?
And the guy comes in for the amp,
Oh no.
and I wish I could say who he's played with, but
I
you know.
shouldn't. Yeah.
So I give it to him, and he says, "Oh, thanks, bro. I thought I lost that in New Orleans." Just puts it in his coat. He's got his big top hat, and he just says, "Thanks, bro," and he walked off.
There you
That's the end
go.
of it.
But it's amazing to think people used to
Tuesday.
leave in
I was
guitar
looking for
shops. Because people go in guitar shops when there were guitar shops back in the day. Now you have one.
Yeah.
But people left them because people get so focused on guitars. Most people left their car keys,
Always.
their wallet.
Phone now.
Right now it'd be phones.
Yeah.
But like, you know how many people like we had a drawer full of car keys.
Yeah.
They never came back. Half the people. Because they didn't realize they left them in the guitar shop. But everyone left everything in guitar
Yeah.
shops because they would get so focused on guitars and be like, "Oh shit, I gotta go."
Yep.
And then they get home and they go to the train to get in their
Right.
car. They don't have their car
You
keys.
remember that guitar that you were working on years ago? We found a dildo in the case.
Harsh.
That was
Now,
very
what do you
weird.
do? Do you give it back?
Yeah, that's embarrassing. Like, hey, bro.
Here you are.
Yeah, were you missing something?
Oh,
Yeah, that's fucked up. I never
there's
heard
some
that
funny
one.
weird stuff.
Yeah, usually we find like
Wow.
drugs,
Yeah.
like guitar
Yeah.
guy shit, like
A
condoms.
different kind of gun clip.
That's fucking funny.
Yeah. Wow.
So I mean, someone could write stories on these things. Like I always thought I would ruin everybody's things, but like the amazing scams guys came up with to get past their wives. Fucking ingenious. I could have never came up with half these things,
Yeah.
and I don't want to tell them because guys still want to use them, and it'll blow everybody's
Same color
shit.
guitar always.
Right. There's a bunch of them, but some of them were ingenious.
Yeah.
And one of my friends came up with most of them, who I won't mention his name. But you all know him. I play in a band.
So it's not one gig bag, just the
Fucking
same
ingenious,
gig bag.
And I have so many good ones, but if I tell them,
Yeah.
it's going to ruin it for guys because
Yeah,
their
right,
wives
yeah,
are going to be
yeah.
like, "You got to watch this podcast. This is how you catch them."
Right.
And it'll ruin it. But someone should write that book someday because stuff I could have never dreamed of.
Yeah.
They're like mad scientists, guitar getting in their house past their wives, guys. Like they put half this effort into their jobs.
Yeah.
How
You
they
can have all the guitars.
they,
you want.
yeah, exactly. Just do your job, right? But they spend, how am I going to get this past the wife?
Yeah.
And the shit they come up with is like,
That is the best friend of scheming. Just like
half of it's the
I need to get
scheming,
this
right?
guitar.
Right. And half of it's just
Like
the
the
fun of
junkiness.
it's the satisfaction of getting it past the
Yeah.
wife.
The
It's like,
junkiness.
yeah, it's right next to my bed right now. She doesn't know.
Yeah.
Fuck her.
And the 5 other under
Yeah.
the bed.
And it's 2 in the pool house.
Yeah.
But
That one.
yeah, my guitars are a mile. Dude, stash this for a while. I think she's on to me. no problem.
The stash house.
Oh yeah, or then the guy will come in and like 3 weeks later, like with 10 guitars.
Yeah.
She caught. Oh, I put it on a credit card. I forgot. She saw it. I gotta sell these.
So we
Like,
fake these on
no, I told her I'd only have 10 guitars
Yeah.
now. We're like, oh dude, it sucks.
Yeah.
Then like 3 weeks later, it's like,
Give me this
I
back.
got another credit card.
Yeah.
I'll take that and that and that. Fuck her.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, it'd be a funny book but it would just ruin so many guys because some of them are so good that you can't.
Hey, you gotta do it.
Yeah, you know, if anyone wants them, private message me.
Yeah.
If you're having a problem with the wife and you're looking at a 62 Strat, I'll tell you how to get it in your house.
Here's what to do.
Yeah, we should have a private website,
Yeah.
like, you know, to make sure, like,
Say a subscription.
yeah, no one's
service.
wife could get on it.
Yeah.
You know? Nothing against you ladies, but we want more guitars,
Yeah.
and they're going to be in your house,
They will
whether you
be
like it or
had.
not. You're just going in there.
So what do we have here guitar-wise, though?
Right, we should do some business. And then we'll get back to amps, whatever. So, we have a lot of cool guitars. Let's start with the one I'm holding. This is a Protocaster,
Well, would you look at that?
made by
It's a
Josh
cool
Grove. So, of course, it is a badass relic, because that is what we do. But this one is really cool. It's got one of Josh's hand-carved necks, which always feel amazing. It's a big monster
Yeah.
V-neck, anodized guard, which we were just saying sounds different.
Yeah, so this seems to be a pretty loud guitar acoustically, and I wonder if part of that acoustic volume is actually generated by that guard.
Where's
'cause
Mojo?
it-
You need him.
It 100% is. Like, I use them a lot, and it makes guitars brighter,
You
Yeah.
can hear this.
and it makes them quieter electronically, and that's why.
Is that why Leo Fender
that's
used
why
it?
they did it.
I
Yeah.
never knew that.
It was a
Because
shielding
it's shielding.
thing.
Right, I wonder
Yeah.
why they switched and why
Because
they had
he
them in the
He
50s.
was a
Right.
radio guy, so everything that they did were in
Makes perfect sense.
Anodized
See, I would have never even thought of that.
things.
Right, because it looks really cool.
Yeah,
Why
it
did they
looks
then
awesome.
switch? Because
Because
Probably
It wasn't-
expensive.
There's
I mean,
it's
basically,
usually
yeah,
a matter of money,
cheaper
right?
for plastic.
Yeah,
Right,
every
usually a matter of
move
money.
that Fender did
Was money, right?
was saving money.
Yeah,
Right. 'cause it
it's
was-
cheaper. That's
Yeah.
why.
Right, but you know, gold guards look cool. I thought it was just a looks thing. I had no idea it was a functional thing.
Too.
Right. You know, yeah, they sound better, but you can almost hear it in this guitar acoustically.
Yeah, they're
Because it's
brighter.
not absorbing.
Well, it's like the
Sound.
D'Angelico guitars. Those tailpieces make reverb.
But big time.
They totally make
For
reverb.
sure.
My D'Angelico has reverb.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like it's
Yep.
plugged into a reverb, and you can
And you
when you
tap
touch
it,
the
it's just
tailpiece, you're like, oh, it's coming out of this tailpiece.
Yeah.
And he had those tailpieces custom made,
Exactly. They're on
to his-
Crosby Street. Down
Right.
around the corner.
but they
from
have
that's
reverb.
cool,
Like some acoustic guitars, electric guitars seem to have reverb. So a lot of time it's the
Yeah.
springs from
Well,
here.
especially Strats.
But you get it on Les Paul sometimes that don't have that.
Yep.
Like, this guitar's
That's
reverb.
just a good.
Just a good guitar.
Yeah.
You know, like that's why they're so unpredictable. You don't know what happens. Like it doesn't have to be an old Strat to sound good. You get Squires that do that.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
for
know,
sure.
Does that
Yeah.
well, so you know, Rick McCurdy told me that a jazz guitar, like everything has a resonant frequency.
Mhm.
So he's like, really, you should be matching the frequency of the neck to the body.
Exactly.
You must know.
Because then
this,
they
but-
fight each other. Like, if you don't, then they fight each other and cancel shit
Is it
out.
those magical ones that just ring?
Dead
Are the
note.
ones that got lucky because they didn't
Yep.
do that at Fender. They grabbed necks and bodies. So
Right.
I think it was Rick McCurdy told me
Yeah,
that,
you
which would make
start-
sense.
Toppings.
Right. That's why they tap test. You know, and you
Exactly.
find things. So he said those ones that really ring are that.
Yep.
You know, which is logical also.
For sure.
You know, so there's so much interesting stuff. That's why you can
Yeah.
still have guitar conversations 30 years later. And there's no answers.
There's
Like
no
Billy
right or
Gibbons is
wrong.
somewhere right now having the same conversation about something with some guy.
Yeah.
Like, why doesn't he have enough guitars yet?
For sure.
You know, like, why is he's buying a guitar right now
Yeah,
from some guy?
exactly.
You know he is. We probably know the guy.
Listen
You can call Mojo and find out where he is.
Yeah.
But he's somewhere going,
Right.
this sounds really good.
Yeah.
We all are.
This is
Like,
the best
how could he not have enough
guitar
guitars yet? You know, like, of course, there's no such thing.
There's no end.
There's no
Yeah.
end. Because
Oh man.
It's like, you can pick up a guitar like, this is the best sounding guitar
I've ever had.
heard.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you've owned 59 Junior.
Right.
59 Les Pauls, everything.
but it's
like,
not this guitar.
this one.
Yeah. that happens to me
But I
every
would
time
say-
I touch a guitar. You know?
Strats are like the most acoustic and acoustical electric
Right. This thing is ringing.
because
Listen to this thing.
the way it's routed on the face is just projecting out of it, and then the tension of the strings is like an acoustic
Right.
out of the body with the pins, and then the springs in the back.
Right. Yeah,
So
this,
like all of that put together,
yeah, this you don't need.
it's loud.
You don't need to plug this guitar in.
Like
You
these
just-
are the loudest electric guitars that I've.
when they're right. Like this one,
Figured
you
out.
don't need an
Yeah.
amp. You don't need to plug in. Like when Dickie Betts would come to the store, like he would always come to the store. I don't think he ever plugged the guitar in.
Yeah.
He would just do
Yeah.
this one thing and go, "This is a good
I'll
guitar.
take it.
Right?
Right.
This is a good guitar. I'll take
Yeah.
this one."
Yeah.
That's all he needs to hear.
It'll sound the same.
he did his vibrato thing and
right.
it did this thing, it's like, oh, this is a good one. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. Like or Walter would always, like Walter and Bob always did the same thing. They plug in the they had the one rep, right? Everyone has their try, but they would put the guitar in the middle position, roll the tone knobs down.
Yeah.
Someone did it the other day, and I was like, good for you.
Yeah.
No one fucking does that. We had a customer the other day. It's the first thing he did, put it in the middle and started rolling down. He's like, I like using these.
Yeah.
I was like, these were the
That's when you
effects
know
back
when you're
then.
an adult. That's like after 30.
Right,
Like,
these
I'm
were
playing the
right,
middle now.
right. We discussed. I'm a middle guy now.
I'm a middle guy.
I was never a middle guy.
Man is a middle band.
fucking. That's when you know you discovered why guitars are the way they are.
I'm 35.
Yeah, Walter and Bob. The second they would do it, they would just do this thing. They would roll down slightly. Walter would go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you know it's really adult contemporary when you're in the middle and play flat wounds.
Right. Well, that's happening.
how
Right.
I made it.
Yeah. And
You're
you
like, ooh, I'm an aristocrat.
yeah, and I know a sixth chord.
Yeah. Get the pinkies involved.
Oh yeah, look at this. I know a jazz chord. This is good.
Yeah.
You know.
That's where I'm at. Flats and in the middle.
Yeah, but once you go, because that's the thing. Like these were the
These are
effects.
all the tones.
These were effects.
Yeah.
This is all they had. This is all Hendrix had. They got a wah wah lid.
Exactly.
You know, like, but you know, like Jeff Beck was using these things.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
with the
Clapton.
Strat, you have like 3 middles.
Other things, right?
Because there's middle of those 2 pickups,
right.
and there's
like
middle
Paul
of those 2
Kossoff, all those
pickups.
guys were
Right.
playing
And
with
then
the
there's just
tone
the middle.
knobs.
Right.
You know, like it's all about the tone knobs. You know, putting it in the middle and rolling this one down was Clapton's thing, and rolling the other one
And
down was
back
Jeff
in the
Beck's thing.
day, there was really experimenting because there wasn't a 5-way switch.
Right.
So you're like,
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Right,
How'd you
don't-
get at a gig?
don't
Like,
switch
wait,
on
everybody.
yeah,
Wait,
hopefully
wait.
my switch is
Oh wait,
dirty,
this is
I'm
one.
gonna
Here's
stay.
one. All right, so you're like, wait.
Or the
Yeah,
two
yeah.
pick.
Right, I'm ready. Oh wait, they're moved. Shit.
Yeah.
Wait, everybody.
And you know right when
Wait,
it
it
gets
just moved.
quiet, you're like, that's it.
Yeah, I got it.
Stop.
Oh wait, no, there's dirt in there.
You're like,
Yep, it doesn't work at all.
Yoink,
Yep,
God,
fuck.
damn it.
Yeah, how they didn't fix that for a while. Like,
It's crazy
Yeah,
how
was it-
long that
that's the
was.
dumbest thing.
80s or 90s.
I remember the first
I
guitar I
thought
played with
this
there, I was like,
was,
dude, this is
late
broken. What the
70s.
fuck? And he's like, no, that's the way they were. I was like, how the fuck do you do it? It's stupid.
Actually, it might have been mid 70s.
Yeah, I was in the
Yeah.
70s.
Yeah.
I thought they fixed that in like the early 60s.
No,
You know?
no.
I just most of the guitars you would encounter had it fixed already.
Exactly.
You know? I was like, this sucks.
Yeah, I mean, and those 2 and 4 tones had already
It's
been
the
like
best.
old,
Already used.
popularized. Yeah,
For
like,
sure.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you
decades.
played a Strat, you're like, oh, those are the quiet, that's humbucking.
Right.
Yeah.
But it sounds awesome.
Right. Well,
It's like all the big stars.
yeah, when I first got into like
That's
like Derek and the
the
Dominoes,
tone.
that record
Yeah.
like Clapton was right here. He
Yeah.
said it in an article, so I knew
Yeah.
he was there.
And
you know.
Big Star, too. It's
Yeah.
not all of that
Yeah, it's that
guitar stuff is in the
quacky
middle.
thing.
And
Yeah.
super clean.
Right, Bonnie Raitt said she only played on the middle pickup.
She's the best.
Oh my god,
She's the fucking
so
best.
good. Ugh. That's.
Woof.
I mean, I would like that record, Streetlights. Like when I was living in the city, that's all I've listened to for like a year. It's like her second record or something.
She's
Fucking
like
stunning, and she didn't play much
the
guitar
best
on it. It was on
Strat
piano.
player
Yeah.
ever. One of the best slide players.
Just great
like,
singer, just great at everything. You know, she just, but you know, like, Bonnie Raitt's so great. But the stuff she did with John Hyatt, I love John
Everything.
Hyatt.
She
but-
does no wrong.
Yeah, but she played on the middle pickup more together.
Mhm.
You're like, middle pickup? And then you start playing, oh, it's all about the middle
I know.
pickup.
And then you think, you're like, man, was I an idiot not to buy all those 330s for $100?
I know. Well,
Well,
no, they sound good. I had one not long ago.
They're
Like
great.
we were like, they sound like
They're
ass.
stupid.
They sound amazing. I remember we used to take DiMarzios out of guitars and just throw them in the garbage.
Those are great.
I put them in a guitar recently. They're the best sounding
Yeah, the
pickups.
super distortion.
Super distortion. You can buy for nothing. We used to just take them out and go ring.
Yeah.
Like these are stupid.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
Every '70s record
You
is
can get a
those.
patent number or
Yeah.
T-top for not much, and then you're like,
We just
Put
thought they
that
were
in.
dumb sounding.
yeah,
We just put them in a Les Paul.
yeah.
I used it at rehearsal yesterday. It sounds amazing.
It's funny how that works.
They're
Like,
hot.
every generation, it's like, oh, T-tops are the worst pickups in
Stupid.
the world.
Right.
Now you're
Now
dying
everyone
for it.
wants one,
Yeah,
right?
give me
And
a
they're
T-top.
fucking amazing. I love T-tops. They're almost as good as
70s
BAS.
Strats, no one would ever touch them.
No
way.
Just the
Nope.
end of the '70s, they're just too heavy and they've just too much
Yeah.
lacquer.
But there's
But-
something about it, though. There's
Right.
Like, you can't compare it to
Yeah,
a
well, some
50s,
guys like
it's a
Lowell
different
George was just
guitar.
playing new Strats. You
Yeah,
know, they were
but-
74. Well, but he put a telly pickup in it.
Hendrix
But
would have still been
everybody's
playing
got
his
the
dive.
good one, though.
Right.
He would have been playing Floyd
Yeah,
Rose guitars.
probably.
He's
Yeah.
been playing the newest
He was
thing.
unusual in
He
that
would've
he
been playing
just
a Parker Fly.
played whatever.
Yeah, he was
You know,
playing
but he liked
Yeah.
Strats and they had to be set up though. But he wasn't attached to any particular one.
Yeah.
You know, as long as there were 10 of them around
Yeah.
and they were set up
Go
the
to
way.
Minis, give me those two.
Yeah, it's unusual. He never seemed to have had a favorite one
No, it's always
that he
new
took from gig to gig.
everything.
No, as long as they were Strats, but
Yeah.
he never maybe didn't keep them long enough or just didn't think in that way.
And he was playing more Gibsons toward the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows what he would have did? Who knows? He could have wound up. You know, who
Yeah,
knows?
right.
I mean,
Let's-
you don't
let's-
get to know that stuff, but you know.
Oh my God! What a That's exactly where it would have gone.
PRS?
Sure. And then he would have had a Parker Fly in the end.
Oh,
Right, who knows?
yeah.
You know, like,
No,
or he would have started playing jazz.
Steinberg.
Or he would have played
would've been
jazz.
Steinberg.
Right.
Yeah.
Steinberg.
Just him and Johnny Winters. Just,
Oh God, that'd be so weird.
just so
Right. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, guitar.
But you always feel like, imagine if like Clapton had passed away right after Layla.
Yeah.
He would be like Hendrix. You'd be like, imagine if he lived into the 80s. And you're like, he would have played with
Yeah.
Phil Collins.
How he uses late
It's not so good. You know, but, you know, like, you know, God bless Clapton, glad he lived as long as he did. But, you know, like, it doesn't mean you get better the whole time. You know, look at all those guys in the 80s who all of a sudden had wavy hair and had Kahlers. Even fucking Dickie Betts had that. You know, like, Dickie Betts had a Kahler. And all of a sudden there's a synth on your record.
Yeah.
You know, like, once they have the synth on their record, like, we'll update our sound with the synth. Like, the Allman Brothers have a record like that. It's
It's probably awesome now.
Yeah.
They all have
You
the
listen-
disco
we're
record.
like,
No, it's bad.
Neil Young's
because
record.
they weren't in good shape in
Oh,
those
right,
years.
yeah.
I love that record. What is
Well,
it?
Neil Young could never do anything wrong.
Totally. But
You know,
he
like-
did that one techno record. Not techno, but
Trance.
It was-
Oh my god, I heard the best Neil Young story.
I love that.
I was watching a thing.
Yeah.
I listen to it all
This is
the
the
time.
funny thing. I was watching it last night. I was watching a thing with Dan Baird, who was the singer from the George Satellites and
Mhm.
the Yahoos, and he had this great story where he's telling the story. He gets dragged to a Neil Young gig, and of course he loves Neil Young more than anyone else.
Yeah.
You know, like, and he's the record company people bring him to the show, and it's the Blue Notes, and so he comes face to face with Neil Young. He said, but the club he was playing, like the second Neil Young ended, turned into a nightclub, like so it's like boom, boom, boom music.
That's
So
how
we can't
Raptor
hear.
Hall is.
So we can't hear anything, and all of a sudden he's face to face with Neil Young, and Neil Young says something to him, and he just goes like this. He said, and what Neil Young had said to him is, "I love your band," and he didn't hear it. He just went. He was so mortified that he just shrugged when his biggest hero said that to him. That he was ruined. He's just like, he's like, I gave him the like, so what face. Like he just said, I like your band.
What are you gonna do?
He's like, if I could have heard those words, I'd have been like, my life just.
He's like, me too.
Yeah. He just said like, he was so mortified. He said like, you know what Neil just said to you that he likes your band. He's like. Oh my god! He said he was so mortified.
Right,
I know that because I don't hear well in clubs.
Totally.
So he's just like reading
Yeah.
trying to read his lips, and he just went like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, and he said, "I like your band." Like Neil Young, the greatest guy ever who ever lived, just said he liked your band, and you gave him this so what face.
It happens. It
He
happens
said he was
all
so
the time.
mortified, like he was just destroyed. He was like, that was the worst moment of my entire.
I gotta
existence.
go.
I hope I die. And Dan Baird's a funny guy, so just the way he told the story was so
That's
great.
amazing.
Because I do, you know, I can't hear in like I think it's for playing music though.
Yeah,
I can't hear in crowds.
No, I
like
can't hear
I can't hear when there's boom boom music going on. Like and you do that like.
I gotta go.
Yeah, like, it's Neil Young like he likes your band, and you're like, it's so sad.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, he's
Well,
like,
so, Doug, what do we have?
sorry about that.
Tell us about this.
Well, let's deal with that later because that's a whole separate.
Fair
thing.
enough.
Do we have that 335-ish type guitar?
Yeah, check this thing out.
So this is a 35 type guitar, not a 335. So we're not allowed to say that. Made by Ken McKay, who is an amazing guitar builder
And a real nice guy.
and a super guy, and I believe he's in Michigan
Yeah.
or
Yes. Yeah.
something.
He's in
starts
Michigan.
with- And this is obviously super flamey, killing, awesome guitars, and I carry these. And Josh actually did the finish on this one.
Lovely.
So yeah, it was beautiful. Josh did the aging and the nitro finish, and it's all weather checked if we can see that. And it sounds like a real one because I have lots of real ones. Because 335s are a tough thing.
Yeah.
New 335s do not sound like old 335s, no matter how much you fucking want to tell you. They do
Yeah.
not.
Well, the plywood's just different.
Everything's
The glue's
different. Everything's different. But
The
Ken
glue, right?
Ken makes
Yeah.
these by hand. You can see it on YouTube. You can
It
see
takes a long time for plywood to like break in. That's why all the new ones sound so weird. And it's like also the finish.
But they're
on it.
heavy. You know,
Yeah.
they're just not the same thing. Like I have a few old 335s now.
Yeah.
I have a 59 345. You know, like, and they're super light.
Yeah, because on the 335, it's maple, spruce, maple, I think, or what is what
Those are the plies? That's it. I didn't know.
Oh, I didn't know they did.
Yeah,
But listen, like that sounds like an acoustic guitar. Like
exactly.
my old ones, I remember buying my first 335 when I was young. I bought a 66, and I was like, "This is awesome! I don't need an
Yeah.
amp.
Yeah.
I can just practice at home like this." But a new 335 makes no sound.
Yeah, I saw pictures of my old one, that 67, the gold one.
Did I lend you the money for that?
Probably.
Did you?
Did you ever pay me back?
Yeah, of course.
Probably not.
Whatever. No.
You owe me some money.
No, of course.
Did you end up respraying that, or was that
No, it was like
coolest thing ever.
gold. It was obviously
But I
champagne
wasn't-
sparkle.
Yeah, I wasn't into Bigsby's yet, like an idiot.
Oh.
I'm looking at the picture, I'm like, there's fucking Bigsby holes. I could have put a Bigsby on it.
Oh
That was a cool guitar.
Oh,
It was
man.
all crinkled up because those
Yeah.
champagne sparkles turned. I mean, my friend bought a 330 on
It faded
48th
to
Street,
gold.
and we thought it was gold.
no! A burgundy.
They started off
Yeah,
burgundy
burgundy
sparkle, but
Oh.
they turned to complete gold.
Yeah,
Unless you took
it's like a cool brownish
And
gold.
then green around the
Yeah,
arm.
it looked like
The
a
whole
gold
neck
top.
was
You know,
green.
like,
Sweet.
but my friend had one. We thought it was gold.
Yeah.
You know, until years later, I was like,
And it was all 330s that did that. Mainly, then a few 335s.
right, you had the 335. Like,
Yeah.
I'd seen 330s that did it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so cool.
Yeah, our friend Chris Gray had us redo the 12-string version.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
He had us cut the headstock
Nice.
down.
Yeah, you can do that conversion.
Yeah.
And,
Those are kind of cheap. Not anymore. I think
Yeah,
people figured it
are
out.
the numbers on those
I
going
think
up?
it's people figured it. It's like
It's the same body.
You actually get a wide neck.
Well, people used to take the bass. I think we did it a few times at Chelsea.
This one wasn't.
Yeah.
You could buy the
No?
Small neck.
you could buy the bass version. It's the same body.
Just put it in
And send it to someone in the Brymonte and have put a neck on.
Yeah.
Kevin K, I'm sure could do it. He built this.
You know what's cool is the B6 version.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, those
And
are
you see the SGs too every once in a while. You're like, oh, that's the coolest thing ever.
a 6-string SG bass.
Yeah, they were like
Really?
big.
I've never
because
seen
there's
that.
That was big at the
Yeah, yeah,
time. Like the
yeah.
Fender basses, like the Beatles were using them.
Yeah.
You know, Jack Bruce played
Jack
one.
Bruce,
You
yeah.
know, like as a bass, he was playing.
Exactly.
Like you know, like. Brr, brr, brr.
Well,
But it-
Jack Cassidy used them too.
Did he?
I thought he was only on that kind of Epiphone
Guilds.
Rivoli type shape.
Well, they played
or
Guilds
Gibson,
at first. I think.
Guilds?
I think all the San Francisco bands used Guild because,
and
and then he
switched
was
over to
playing the
Gibsons.
Epiphones. Yeah.
Or
But I think like Phil Lesh, all those guys played the Guilds.
oh, interesting. Okay.
'Cause they had
Did
those-
he play an SG bass too at one point?
Well, the one I think the one we played a lot was a Gibson like Epiphone.
Well, his
it's
signature
right,
models
it's
in
the kind of
Epiphone.
335.
But I think
looking
because they all went to Alembic and had all these like crazy things put in them.
Yes, yeah.
Like I think his original one was a Guild because they
Right.
loved those pickups.
effects can't go on the floor; they have to go in the bass.
Right. Yeah, like the Phil Lesh had the mission control thing, and it's coming out. Every string came out of a different part
What?
of. Yeah, that's when they had the wall of sound. They didn't want any two sounds going through a single speaker.
Wow.
So every string came out of a different section.
Oh
and
my
in
God.
the Grateful Dead movie, he's on the stage showing how it
Good
works.
grief.
He's like, this string comes out there.
Pretty freaking insane.
It was
a whole
outrageous,
bunch
but
of Macintosh hi-fi.
yeah, like
Holy
not as,
smokes.
and it went straight up
So very simple.
because the guy Owsley realized like it had to be 30 feet tall at least to make a proper bass
Oh.
wave. So there were no monitors, and
Yeah,
everything was
everything
back
was
there,
back
but everything was tall. So
Yeah.
it was they say it was the best sound system ever built, but it bankrupted them
Yeah.
because it took 2 nights to set up. They needed
I don't
2
understand.
versions
It's
of
so
it.
simple.
Right, but
It's so straight
But I
ahead.
asked Night Bob, I was like, "Did you ever see the Wall of Sound?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I was like, how did it sound?" He's like, "Amazing." Yeah. What did Phil Lesh said? They said, "Like, what did the Wall of Sound really sound like?" He's like, "The voice of God."
Imagine like a crew of like 50 like hungover tripping
Acid
guys having
people
to
hanging it
fucking
from the ceiling.
set it up like
Right, but it hung from the ceiling.
like where's the cable, Bob?
Right.
It's like
I thought that was a
you had it.
snake that was on fire and electric.
Yes.
But they were
Yeah,
hanging
but
that
it
shit
worked.
from the ceiling.
Yeah, how are those guys not crushed on the regular?
Supposedly they were so professional. Even though like you were allowed to be on acid as long as you can keep your shit
Like me and
together.
Moss have trouble setting this thing up sometimes.
Oh my god, remember
Like,
Craig was tripping at Chelsea Guitars that day? Oh,
Yeah.
I shouldn't tell this to Danny, I watch it. But your staff was in fact tripping. Danny gives him a guitar to like change one string on. Like 20 minutes later, he's like, "Go see what's up with fucking Craig." And I go back to him, like, "Dude, what's up?" He's like, "I can't."
I'm not right.
He couldn't get a string on it.
Snakes, probably.
Yeah, he's just like, "I just can't." I was like, "Give me that fucking thing." Yeah, but these guys are hanging shit from the ceiling. But supposedly, like now there's so much information on the Grateful Dead on Deadhead. Supposedly they were cool. You could take whatever drugs you want as long as you kept your shit together. You know. Yeah, why don't we pause for a minute? We're gonna pause for 1 minute. Good. All right, so we are back. Sorry, we had to take a short break, but we are back, and we have a couple other pieces of business. We ran long, of course, and we didn't really get to speak to Eric about amp stuff as much as we would like to, but there will be a part 2 of this one, and we do have a couple other things to check out. This is what we think is a 64 Strat that we just bought from Retrofret Guitars from our friend Peter and Shira there,
That's awesome.
because it has no finish, obviously, and we know Josh. So It's a really cool guitar. Hopefully by the next podcast or the one after that, it will be a painted guitar. The big problem is what color does it become?
And that's where
And that's where you guys come in, right?
You should do one of those Fender partridge finishes. Remember those?
The Partridge, like the Partridge Family. What?
Where they do the
They
ring,
actually-
sparkle,
Yeah, those are
rainbow.
Cool. We should do that. Not on this guitar.
Let's do
So
it.
the
Come
big
on.
debate is Peter Stewart said Sonic Blue, but Shira said Shell Pink.
Pink.
I just painted a shell pink.
And everyone's going Shell Pink. Like,
Shell
Big
pink.
time.
right?
Yeah.
Shell
It's
Pink.
got the right pick guard too.
Right. It's got to have the right color.
Yeah,
Shell Pink is a
yeah.
cool color, and everyone could, shit on pink and all that, blah, blah, blah. But that's a bunch of bullshit.
It's a
Yeah, I
real
did
nice
a
color.
tally and a strap. Shell pink tally, shell pink strap.
But it's one of those colors that doesn't look good new. Like
No,
new,
you gotta
well,
put
no
some-
color looks
you gotta-
good new.
yeah.
Sonic Blue doesn't look very good new either, but a really cool aged Shell Pink might be the thing.
That's
So
the move.
some people won't buy a
I
pink
say
guitar, but fuck
No, no,
those
no.
people. That's some
It's all
bullshit.
by.
But it's a 64 Strat, so
Yeah, Shira is blowing up the comment section right now.
yeah.
Shell
she was
pink,
like,
shell
of
pink,
course
shell
it's
pink.
Shell Pink. Yeah, well, that's her thing. So like, but it's a kind of cool idea, and most
Is there
people just
any
don't do
trace
it.
of the original color in the?
I think some-
I haven't
Yeah.
opened it up yet.
He said it was sunburst.
Oh, was
He
it?
said it's all in there. He said it's all
Yeah,
sunburst.
because normally,
Right.
you don't sand it.
Yeah, most people don't. This one wasn't sanded badly. It didn't really,
No, it's cool.
become. But supposedly it's all right.
It's
Supposedly
a long time ago.
two of the
You can
pickups are a little
explain
weak.
it.
Right. Supposedly two of the pickups are a little weak, so we'll either have them repaired or rewound. But otherwise, it's all
No,
there.
no, just
Supposedly
remagnetize-
the supposedly the
just
solder joints are all
remagnetize
right. So
them. Just leave the pickups. Just remagnetize them.
Really? You think they're just degaused? That's it?
Yes.
goused. It's a good word.
Degaused.
Goused.
Yeah. Gauss is
Goused.
just a measure of
You think
magnetic
you're
strength.
smarter
Want to fight?
Big
Want to
word.
wrestle over there?
I'll show you
Maybe you just
degauss.
degauss this.
Yeah, I can degauss.
Well, imagine if that really worked. Then the
Degauss.
next podcast we could talk about
Little
gaussing.
degaussing.
Well, that is that.
Yeah.
So,
I'll leave the coils if the sound comes out.
well, we can plug it in and check it out. But he just said they're weak. He said, send it out. But if that's just the case, then that's the
Yeah, a
case.
lot of times old pickups just get
Just
degassed.
weak, right? Which
That's
makes sense.
interesting, Yeah.
So you can remagnetize them.
Right?
What? Well, you make.
How does that work? What do you do?
Can't tell you.
Trade secret.
No,
Yeah.
you literally just put them in between two magnets.
And that's enough to
And you
realign
run it through,
yeah.
Imagine if that just fixed it.
That's
Then you just put every rewinding guy out of business.
well. Sometimes you do.
No, I'm just kidding. No, sometimes they need to be rewound.
Yeah.
No, if they're working, sometimes they're open coils, and there's that you just hit the thing with a soldering iron and
Yes,
it could
yeah.
work. It's one of those things, but they just didn't want to get into it.
Yeah.
So they sell.
They're
They don't really sell
awesome.
refinished guitars anyway. They sell super straight stuff, so
Yeah.
that worked out really good for us. So it was very nice of them
That's
to
awesome.
sell this to us, and Mojo facilitated that. So thank you, Mojo, as always. And let's get to the Golden Road guitar.
Yes.
So this is the second of our Golden Road guitars.
Yes.
I have the first one. 'cause
So this
it's
one-
my fucking idea.
Finish the binding. So I wanted to go
That
as
is
many
so pretty.
more plies as possible, just because it's fun, and we love D'Angelico's and his plyingness.
But you were going to carve this while I'm here, right?
Yes. So I was waiting for you to come so I can carve it, and you could be like,
Right,
that's
so-
what I want.
If Daniel could film that, he's actually going to carve the neck while we're here.
Yeah.
So if we could just film that afterwards and insert it into the podcast, that's really cool because right now it's a big square, obviously. But
Yeah,
who
and
gets
then-
to actually get their neck carved right in front of them?
Yeah, and then
I do.
it's like,
If you wanted to answer the question,
it's like the farm to table of
Yeah.
guitars.
boom.
Bench to
Called
people.
that.
There you go.
Bench to
to
people.
hand.
Yeah.
The bench to
Bench to
hand
hand.
guitar.
Exactly.
You charge an extra $1,000 for
Organic.
bench to
It's organic.
hand, right?
It's,
Bench to hand
No
service.
GMOs.
So you guys
Right.
are laughing. Somebody's going to do that now.
Right, you'd be like, we should have did it. We're so stupid.
We're doing it right now.
$1,000 for
Extra.
having your neck
Yeah.
carved while you eat a tuna wrap.
Get it on the
Exactly.
website.
Trying to figure out ohms
That's
over
you
there.
need to open up a restaurant and people just have
And amplifiers,
That would be good.
Yeah, Eric tended to put his lunch inside the amp while he was repairing it. And we
What's the sound of
we
it?
have pictures of it. Well, not your amp,
Yeah.
but the guy next to
My
you is
amp.
probably.
I'll do it in your amp if you want.
Right,
Yeah.
see, it's extra, right.
Exactly.
Why does it smell like French fries?
Yeah, let's
I don't
see that
know.
thing together.
It doesn't.
Yeah, so then
Oh.
blew it tonight.
Ooh, that's pretty.
And
So
yeah, I just love
by the next podcast, this will probably be a guitar.
gold.
It's gonna be gold.
Oh,
And we're talking
so
about
this one is going to be a gold
Yeah, because
top.
we're the first. They were all going to be gold, but the last one was so flamey.
And what I did with this one on purpose was, as you know, when you see a gold top and you strip it, you're like, oh, the center seam isn't. So for that, you know, the tip of the hat. I
Oh, you
moved
did the off-center seam.
Yeah.
Ah, very cool.
Because we're super
All
smart.
right.
And this wood is also from Green Oak Cemetery, right next door.
Nice.
And this one's going to have a Bigsby string bender
Yes, and a dog bone.
and a
bridge.
dog bone. Right.
That's
Which is
this guy
awesome.
right here, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep,
Don't tell too many people about those because I've been able to buy them.
I know.
These suck.
Yeah,
Do
there's-
not buy them.
But this wood, just like the other.
I'll give a shout. My friend Jamie Simpson from Booyah Amps turned me on to these. I didn't,
Oh,
even know,
nice.
I didn't even know those existed. He came over one day with one. I was like, "What the fuck? I need
I
that."
haven't seen one.
Danny had a whole box of those things.
Let's go get them. Well, actually, I have a whole box of them now.
Oh,
Give
give
them
me
from me.
those.
I just been buying them like crazy. Every time
Yeah.
I see one, I just bought that one because I saw it.
They're great.
Yeah, I have a bunch of the long ones, so I'll give you one because you want the one in your
I love them.
And I love the 3 dot
But not
12
D'Angelico.
fret markers. That's
Yeah.
so tasteful. It's
I don't know.
such
It's
a
like
classy
our
wood.
favorite builders are the ones who did weird shit. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
D'Angelico
Bixby and all that stuff.
Midas and Bigsby. It's like, why not?
But that's gonna be cool.
God.
So if Daniel
That's
will
cool.
film that, then somewhere
Yeah.
later in this podcast, this will be a carve. Now, you can even see the carving process.
So then this fingerboard is from the same blank board as your other guitar. So this shares
Right.
the same wood and the neck as well. It's
Yeah.
the
Oh,
same
interesting.
piece of
I
mahogany.
love my
Yeah, because that's a beautiful
So this
fretboard.
this
Yeah, like
wood
a dark
is
fetish.
from the Martin factory.
I
they
wondered if this
sold-
was. Yeah.
They sold
yeah.
a bunch of wood to a few luthiers, and a few boards came up, and I got a bunch of it. It's really nice.
That's
so
like
they sold
dark
it
wood.
back in the day because there's too red. It was like
stripey, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
curves at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the stripe
Yeah,
is cool, but
that-
you don't want to see that on a Martin. You would think it
Yeah.
was bullshit.
yeah, it's like, but they would die for it now probably.
Right. Yeah,
But
but
back in
fuck.
the 70s, you're like,
There's some new guy was like, sell this wood.
Yeah,
It's got a big
stupid.
stripe in it.
And prop a door open with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's some
exactly.
bullshit. Sell this off.
So yeah, so this is gonna be awesome.
Awesome, so we'll carve that.
What do you think the final weight's going to be on it?
A good one.
A good one.
It's gonna be just right.
Good.
Yeah, just
Correct.
right.
Good.
Yeah.
Just right. Who knows?
And I think that's about it for our podcast.
Yeah.
So just to give you guys a preview, the next podcast will be the Chelsea Guitars Staff Reunion Podcast, which we've been
Wow.
trying to do for years.
And we already have some here.
And years. Well, right now, right. You worked at Chelsea. You worked at Chelsea. You worked for Chelsea. I worked at Chelsea. He worked at Chelsea. But we are going to get as many staff members and the owner together about 4 weeks from now. It's already planned. We have a friend Dennis is flying up from Nashville. We got Big Danny, of course, Little Danny
Wow.
Jr., who would have been Little Danny, except there already was a Little Danny.
Little
That's how he
Danny.
became Junior.
Little Junior.
Yeah. But he was the smallest one. We already had a Little Danny. You couldn't have two Little Dannys. It would have been
Teensy
confusing.
Danny.
Yeah, we had too many Dannys. Little Matt,
Yeah.
who's not really little. He was little back then.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of little people. They were 14 years old. Of course they were little.
That was,
Yeah. We hired children because you could pay them less.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Shop
Danny was
for
smart.
Oklahoma.
an hour.
Yeah. How much did you get?
$5 an hour.
Nice. Well, you were worth even less than that. We don't want to go into the stories because we'll save it for that podcast. But
Yeah.
yeah,
The pranks were.
you were overpaid at that beginning part. But you made it up in other ways.
Yeah.
Chinese hat, cape. Yeah. We'll get into all of those stories.
Go
yeah.
to 52nd Street Guitar.
Yeah, that was our favorite sport, is sending these poor kids to guitar shops that didn't exist. And then when they would call and say they couldn't find it, we would scream at them how stupid they were. West Side Highway Guitars was my favorite one. We said, there's a guitar shop in the middle of the West Side. They're like, I can't find it. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Oh man, there was a lot
Poor
of good
kids.
stuff.
Yeah, so that's going to be a really good podcast. So that is the next podcast. It's only a couple weeks from now.
Yeah.
So that's going to be huge. And we'd like to thank Jimmy, of course, for hosting us here.
Thank you, anytime.
And we'd like to thank Connor again for helping us. Daniel, of course, for filming everything and editing it. Andrew Follett for watching it. And Bob's Helicopters and Labella Strings for sponsoring it. And we'll see you guys next time.